Hello and welcome to Is This England, a show where we talk about old and new England games and ask just how England was this.
We are on the precipice of Euro 2024. The Three Lions have landed in Germany and are ready to take on all comers. But what do we think are the chances of football coming home?
You may be a stranger, that's what time can do. Baby, you mean everything to me.
Oh, it's getting. Oh, that was a bit Gary Neville start.
Oh.
Oh, it's getting a bit scary out there. Oh, no. Yeah, it is getting a bit scary out there because we are very close. We're recording this on Wednesday, and the tournament starts on Friday with Germany versus Scotland.
The traditional curtain raiser, I think we can all agree. No
Yeah.
little car this year, I've heard. I'm disappointed in that.
straight in, straight in. No
Yeah.
little car at all. I saw somebody say, "Oh, it's got bigger fish to fry," and it was that little car running away from the Mad Max Fury Road thing where the guy's
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
death metal guitar on the front of a death truck.
With like fire coming out of it and everything. Yeah, I don't know how the little car would do, but
No,
I still back it.
the little car that could. I what was I going to say? This is good for a podcast. I forgot. Yes, the first tournament I remember in my life, France '98. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I could be wrong now. I'm sure that started with
Mm.
Scotland playing
It
against
was
Brazil.
Scotland, Brazil, yeah, yeah, and the actual game was delayed because I think the opening ceremonies had gone on too long, and the
All right,
Brazil players all had to basically warm up in the tunnel, and they were just dancing. That was their warm up.
and they won 3-0.
Yeah,
I'm
they won
excited
two
for it.
one. They won
Oh,
two
did
one.
they? Where did I get
Yeah,
that
yeah,
from then? I'm
Brazil,
excited
yeah.
for the Germany Scotland game.
Yeah.
Not to get too distracted, but um, I mean, I think I know Germany will win. But at the same time, it's good.
Mm.
It's good to like have an interest in like a home nations team from the start, and that it's not just like what was the one at the World Cup? It was like Ecuador versus Qatar.
Oh yeah, something awful. I mean, obviously that was a host nation, just like please let us win a game. Like we beg of you, let us win a game. But
We'll
yeah,
pay.
this yeah, well we'll pay. But yeah, it feels it's a fun one, isn't it? Because Germany, a host should always be the ones who open it. I don't think it should always be the champions because a host should
Yeah,
start things off. And yeah,
I agree.
Scotland's just a funny one, isn't it? Because they'll all be up for it. Germany, they're still they've got a lot of trust to build up still, I think, from like really bad tournaments in the past as well. And
Yeah.
and Scotland haven't been great themselves, and it's a bit unpredictable. I mean,
Mhm.
again, I think Germany will win, but it's still like, okay, this is a fun one.
So, how is your Euros fever then? Obviously, we spent 5 minutes talking about Germany versus Scotland, so I'm guessing it's pretty off the scale at the moment.
It's all right at the minute. I don't know why. I've not fully like feel like I've embraced it. I think because there's just admin like waiting for me in
Yeah,
terms of actually going out there.
yeah.
So I've not actually done much around it. I think I've just started looking into where we're going to go in Berlin, and then Gelsenkirchen. I'm not really sure. I think there's like going to be a fan park or a farm or something where everyone's going to like descend on to watch the game.
A fan park or a farm?
I think it's the same thing. I think it is usually a farm that has been turned into a fan park,
Yeah.
and like it's expected like 40,000 people could fit in there. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what we're
That
gonna
sounds
do when we
like
actually do that.
it could be the premise for a horror movie.
I know, yeah. And already, like, and you know me as well, it's just more like, right, how do we get there and back? How easy is it? And I need
Yeah.
to just, sit down on an evening and think about it. But
And in
I think
your head, it would have been
yeah.
maybe you were going to a city and
Mm.
you're going to like a European city with all the bars, and now it's like last minute. It's actually on a farm, which I guess
Yeah.
makes logistics and travel a lot harder.
I just don't want to get stuck somewhere, basically, is it? And I think it's just the idea of like, right, got to behave myself because I've booked very early travel every day.
Yeah.
So just got to think about it. But no, I think when friend of the show Adam Power arrives, that's when the tournament arrives. He will bring all the joy with him.
All the vibes indeed.
Yeah.
We've got a lot to get through, including a quiz later, which I imagine Adam
Oh.
will get 10 out of 10 on. So he'll have to update us on that. um, Just yeah, on the Euros fever. We're not going to really dissect. We'll talk about the squad and we'll talk about the games, but we're not going to do a deep dive on over those things. So post Iceland defeat, obviously Friday night just gone. It was a 1-0 defeat at Wembley to Iceland. What were, did that raise many concerns for you? And kind of 3 or 4 days removed, well, 4 or 5 days removed, if you did have any, do you care anymore? As the excitement kind of overriding it?
It was to me. I didn't watch the full game. I was getting a chippy, and didn't get back in time for it. But I think it was one of those where saw the Iceland had score, and I was like, "Oh, that's annoying." They'll still like come round and win, and then didn't seem like they were making loads of good chances and that, and it was just a bit of a right. I know wake up call is used a lot, and it's quite overused at times when you talk about these kind of things. But I think it was just a bit sobering for me of just like we've not had a bad tournament for a while. Is this kind of like is
Mm.
this the start of one? Is it or is it just actually it feels like a bit of a knife edge where you look at the last tournament in Qatar, and there was so much negativity going into it. And then by the time they actually played Iran, Bellingham scored really early. England ran into a lead, and it was just all easy. I feel like in the opening game against Serbia, which we'll talk about, I think if there's ever an England team that needs an early goal, it's this one because you just feel that there's so much expectation on them now, and I don't think people have gone silly with it, but the talent is clearly there and there's
Mm.
holes in the side, but this is a last chance for a group of players and the start of something for the next lot too. So it does feel like there's pressure on it now, which I felt in that Iceland defeat. I don't think anyone went silly about it. I think everyone was quite measured still.
So a couple of days out from the Iceland game, you're not thinking that it was completely not pointless. What's the word? Like that there is something to be looked into from it. Basically,
It's a good experience, I feel, for a lot of them as well. Like I know it wasn't
wow.
the England team who, yeah, well, that's
That's a
like
good
it's not the
reframing of it. Look, it's good experience.
yeah, well, they've got to know and understand. Like, I think the two games that England picked were games where they were going to have a lot of the ball and they'd have to break a team down. And they did that once in the Bosnia game, and they didn't do it in the Iceland game. And maybe that's going to lead into what Southgate does in terms of picking the team, because by the sound of it, it sounds like Alexander Arnold's going to play in midfield,
Yeah,
and maybe that's your option for breaking down a really difficult team to break down with just different passing lanes and his ability to do that. So maybe a thing of like, yeah, that's kind of confirmed. Better, when we're clearly the better team with the ball, let's try and be a bit more expansive with it.
yeah. There was a little. I mean, obviously, there's nothing to. There were no takeaways that you could go. That was impressive, by
Yeah.
no metric. But I was also very much of the mindset I don't want any of these players to even run or break a sweat in this game.
Yeah,
So the,
agreed.
the lack of intensity is to be expected. There was one point when, God, I think John Stones had gone off, and then I think Gahey got smashed in the face with a ball and went off. And then I texted my mate and I was like, it's gone from a bad performance to a little bit worrying that it's even happening now because, you know, losing two defenders at this point where I think John Stones is ill and Gay he looks like he'll probably be playing, but it seemed the possibility that both might miss a game or two of the tournament. It's like this is just not worth it. So concerning in that regard. I think the lack of intensity isn't a concern, and like you say, maybe I think we can't we can't just steamroll past everybody. We've still got to put the work in.
Yeah.
Also, just a way of looking at it is Aaron Ramsdale in goal equals not serious England team. Do you know what I mean? He's
Yeah,
never playing a big
definitely.
game, is he? Like through if everyone else is fit, you're never going to put Aaron Ramsdale in for a big game. And Pickford does massively set the tone for the team, which is especially at tournaments. And I think that's an underrated aspect of Pickford and the England team as a whole. And going to be hard
I
to
think when you
replace
look
when
at
his time's up as well.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely, and which hopefully isn't for a long time yet because he's still pretty young for a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Ramsdale's got that thing now of his two biggest contributions for the England national team have been letting in that goal against Iceland and letting in about nine against Hungary at Wolves.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
like he just feels like a goalkeeper with a lot of holes in him.
Yeah.
Just feels like there's a lot of places to put the ball past him to do that. And like you say, if he's playing, then really it's just kind of maybe he's probably going to be the number two because he's most similar to Pickford, but he is like levels below. And
Yeah.
it was really weird, like watching the discourse afterwards of I think we'll put slightly touch on it, just the fact that the players who were picked on in that game as well. Obviously, Bukayo
Mm,
Saka, who barely played, but it was all over the back pages as
yeah.
a young black footballer, and he was seen as like your fault, even though it's never outrightly said.
Yeah.
And the player it was said to have been who conceded the goal was Kobe Minu, who didn't really do anything, who wasn't really
No.
near any of the action, but there was a piece written at halftime saying, "Oh, is he really the solution?" It's like,
Yeah.
really? Are we doing this already pre-tournament? Like it was the fact the piece went up at half time, I found really weird.
That is weird. I didn't think he had a great game, Manu. And I was watching it and I was like, oh, this is different because Man United have no choice but to pass to him because he's the only good player, really, a lot of
Yeah.
the time. Whereas England, they were trying different things and the game kind of passed him by. But anyway, we'll
Mm,
talk a bit more England a little bit later. For once, we're going to stray to foreign shores because it's not just England. There's 24 teams competing in Euro 2024.
good
Uh,
luck.
Between June 14th, so the tournament starts then and it ends on July 14th. The winner, of course, will be the European champions. They'll all get a title belt each to wear. Reigning holders, of course, Italy, England runners up last time. I'm saying that as a fact with no emotion attached to it, which is fine.
Mhm.
I was sure that the tournament had some sort of format change, but no, they're leaving it alone for the moment. So it's the same format as Euro 2020 played in 2021. No changes to the beautiful game just yet. So that's your admin for the tournament
Yeah.
down. Let's have a bit of discussion. I've got a few talking points for us to go through. I think we can maybe try and agree on some and maybe pick our own things for some others. So who are the outright favourites? Can we agree on? I mean, we could just look at bookies sites, but I think between us, this is not necessarily the team who we think will win because that could be an individual choice. But who has to be considered a favourite? Is it Italy, the reigning champions?
No, I wouldn't say so. No, I mean they got there quite fortuitously as well out of England's group in out of qualification too. So
England's
yeah,
group.
England's
That's it.
group. Yeah, England won that group, mate.
Yeah,
I look, it's France. To
it's
me,
France. Yeah,
it's still France. The fact that they're not world champions doesn't sit right with me because I think
no,
they're just the best team in the world, and clearly they were just involved in that insane game that Mbappe dragged them back from.
yeah,
Yeah, it has to be France for me, and I think kind of everybody sensible is actually thinking that. I know the bookies in England say something different, but that's just due to the odds that English people are putting money on England,
yeah,
which is a
definitely.
normal thing to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Agreed on that. Then I think France, as you say, favourites. But who do we think will win? Because if I was going into a bookies today and placing a £10 crisp note with King Charles's face on it, I wouldn't be backing France. Not just because
Okay.
the odds would be better for other teams, but we go off our hunches and we like to pick kind of if everyone was just going around saying, "I think France is going to win," it'd be a boring old world.
Yeah.
You may think that they will, but I'm going to go with Germany.
Okay. Okay. What are you basing that on then? Germany.
Uh, you know how Italy won the last Euros, and it's just they're a nation that even when they're not doing well, can just win a tournament every now and then. Germany have had a few bad tournaments in a row now, so
Mm.
really they are at the lowest. But this, I feel like the squad has come on quite a lot since the last tournament. It's in Germany. I think there's a potential. We'll get to it later, but I think there's a potential they play England in the next round, and it's
Ooh.
just like I think stars might align. They'll work their way through, and Tony Cruz will go out with European Championships in Germany. I think Musiala is a player who is at least. Oh, it's a risky one to say. I think he's at least on the level of Jude Bellingham, maybe even slightly better. In a
Okay.
way,
Wow. Okay.
he could light the
When
tournament
you
up.
think about it.
And uh yeah, there's just like somebody like Kai Havertz, some players just turn it on for a tournament. I know he's had a good season, but
Mm.
Germany, I'm gonna go with Germany. Would you go with France logically, or is there anyone who you think might who's just hitting form at the right time, or the group's nice or what have you?
if we're basically saying we can't say France, and I think
You
just
can.
because yeah, but just for the just for chat, we can't say France. England, I think I'm hopeful, but I'm not massively confident. I'd
Okay.
probably say Portugal.
Yeah, that's not a bad
It,
shout either, is it?
it feels like that does feel like they've got a lot of players coming into form at the right stage. They've got quite an easy group from what I can see of Czechia, Georgia, and Turkey. So I just feel like, yeah, maybe not. I mean, they could rack up scores in that group, you feel, and then maybe that'll give them the confidence of like, right, we've given Ronaldo his 3 goals. Just let him get on with that. He can sit on the bench for plate pieces. Bruno Fernandes obviously ended the season really well, and like their options from the bench. Like one of the reasons Liverpool have done so well the last I don't know under Klopp or like last 5 years, let's say, is because they just have good players to bring on. Doesn't
Yeah,
mean they'll
yeah,
always start games, but like a Jota, for example for Portugal and Liverpool comes on, will probably score. And, it's just a fresh option, isn't it? And I think Portugal just got so many of those at the moment. And
yeah.
Pepe's still there.
Not a bad shout at all. It would be 20 years, I think, since Ronaldo started his Portuguese international journey at Euro
Yeah, yeah.
2004. I the one Greece won. In Greece, yeah, Greece would have
It
won.
was, yeah, yeah.
I would love it for the fact that they're both on the decline clearly. But if Messi's Argentina and Ronaldo's Portugal win the last two kind of major international tournaments, I just love it. You know,
Yeah.
keep my 20s going on forever.
I saw Ronaldo was in 442 in the preview issue, which I've just bought. And it was like, if I win another Euros, this reopens the conversation. Like it doesn't, Cristiano, it doesn't. Like just be happy with what you've got in your, immeasurable amounts of money in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Okay, then a group of death. I've got the kind of groups in front of me. I'm going to straight away say I don't think there's a debate when you consider Group
Hmm.
B is Spain, Croatia, Italy, and Albania. Nothing to say about Albania, but Croatia always do well, don't they? I mean, there's a big argument to
Yeah.
say they're more successful than England. I mean, I don't even know if it is debate, it might just be a fact, even during this
Yeah.
more successful period we've had recently. There was something I saw actually about that. Maybe we can talk about it a little bit more shortly because there's a different point I want to raise. But anyway, I'm sure Croatia have beaten like Spain, Brazil, like these teams. When you say about England
Hmm.
having the tournament kind of opening up for them in quite a nice way sometimes, and we have beat Germany at a low point, and that's probably about it from your international big hitters. Croatia
Yeah.
don't mind getting the big results, but is there any other group that you say challenges that one to the group of death?
I don't think so. Like all of them like seem like they've got one or two good teams. I am going to be mildly controversial and say I think England's group is actually harder than what it may have first appeared. I think
100%. I'm
even
scared of
and
it.
I know, and even for the fact that we're going to say this because it's England and it's what it is. But every every team England play have got a really good striker who
You've took
really
the
does not
words
mind fucking it up.
out of my mouth. So what we're saying, Mitrovic, Hoyland, and Sesko.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so I'm agreeing with you big time there. And do you remember before when we were saying, I think we're talking about Wales, and we're saying as long as you've got like a good striker in an international team, that you can go quite far. And like you
yeah.
say, all of the yeah, go on, you carry on because I'm sure you had something to say about that formidable trio.
No, it just exactly that really. That when you look at England's problems at the moment, it's in defence, and it's still unsure who's going to play where and how many minutes certain players can have, and maybe looking to a knockout place. And I'd really worry about that in certain games. I don't know how they're going to go about stopping that because I don't think it's something they can stop. But I would say, the rest of the Slovenia side probably not as good. Denmark, just a really mixed bag. Serbia got some good names in there, and even Vlahovic from the bench. But I'd say England's group is the second most even.
Yeah, I'm not too against Group A, Germany, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland as well, being a tasty one.
I think you can just see in a lot of them, like there's a clear winner in some of them, and then it's like fuck knows about some of the rest of them. I mean, Poland, Netherlands, Austria, and France. Netherlands have been on a really good run in the build up to this as well, even though Frankie de Jong's now injured.
Oh yeah.
So you'd say they're going to probably go through. Yeah, I know we don't probably break it all down, but what on earth is Group E? Group
Belgium,
E, yeah,
Slovakia, Romania, and Ukraine.
no thanks. I won't be watching any of those games.
Yeah. Just to go back to your point about England's group, I'm scared of Denmark and Hoyland. There's a channel
Yeah.
I was watching the other day that was just all of the Euros every team that's qualified, all of their goals back to back, team by team.
Mm.
And he was just absolutely shit hot for Denmark, like ridiculous, just banging them in. I think he scored four in one game. And obviously we're biased because of Man United fans, but he's got some attributes, hasn't he? Like he's got killer pace and can finish. And to be
Yeah.
honest, even though Denmark, you think, well, it's kind of him and Ericsson. Obviously, they've got other players. Probably gets better service there than he does, even though Ericsson plays for United.
I think
But he
it's just more
famously
the
doesn't
fact.
get many touches, does he?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's the thing of like maybe they're just more set up to get him the ball as well. So yeah, I think that's about it. Like I say, Group F, just Portugal are going to absolutely smash everybody in that group, and it's just a toss of a coin which one goes through. Because even Georgia, you
Mm.
know, maybe they've just got something up their sleeve. Who knows?
So but we are saying Group B: Spain, Croatia, Italy,
Oh,
Albania, Group of Death.
absolutely, yes. That's a horrible group. I'm glad that England are nowhere near, and I look forward to who will be joining Croatia in the knockout round.
Yeah, well, it goes into the next topic for me because we want to talk about dark horses. Can I say Italy are a dark horse? Reigning champions, but
They are
qualified
reigning champions,
awfully.
as you've just said.
Qualified awfully. Nobody's expecting anything. Would you be surprised to just see them rock up in a semi?
No, because it is Italy. I'd kind of maybe have them as the most potential to go out of that group because I just don't know if they've got it about them anymore. Like that seemed like such a perfect moment for them to win that last Euros, win every game up towards it, not qualify for the next World Cup, just
Yeah.
about qualify for the Euros. Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably have them down as least favorite in terms of that. Dark horses elsewhere.
Scotland?
Hungary, Hungary.
Hungary and
I'm
Scotland.
looking at that group.
Yeah. What makes you say Hungary? The Liverpool guy.
Yeah, yeah. I think maybe it's just something about the fact that they did well at the last Euros, and they maybe have a bit of like a slight golden generation about themselves now, where it's kind of a chance for them to do something.
Have you
You know,
seen their striker, Martin Adam?
no, I've not seen Martin Adam.
He needs looking at. I am telling you. He's their number nine. Again, this was on the goal qualification goals I was watching the other day. Me and my brother were like, who is this guy? He's absolutely massive. He genuinely looks like a rugby player. And like I think he plays in like the second division in Korea or something like that. But he's
What?
Hungary's number nine. No, K League one. Sorry, so I
Okay.
did him a disservice there. But check him out, Martin Adam, rugby flipping. I think they call him
UEFA,
like
check him out.
a scrum half or something like that. Is what he looks like. And again, imagine somebody like that having a good tournament. Yeah, Hungary's not a bad shout. I think Scotland could. It's going to be hold off Switzerland. Now it's a tough group, isn't it? Switzerland aren't a bad team either. You don't
Mm.
imagine Albania are going to get out. Denmark, the they class as dark horse again, probably not
Yeah,
semi-finalist
yeah,
last time.
I wouldn't mind seeing like the team who come out of England's group I would say would probably make. I know it's only one game, but you'd probably have them favoured for a quarter final maybe to
Yeah,
get there because as well you've got to remember third place is good enough for most teams in groups. I think there's
mad.
only a couple of third places that won't go through.
Yeah, I think Hungary is probably a good as good a shout as any. To be fair, because I'm looking at
Well,
let's say Group E, like you say, it'll be Belgium and one other, but you don't can't imagine the other to go for Portugal and one other from Group F. I don't know if Turkey or Czech Republic are gonna do much.
hmm. I mean, can you say Netherlands? Just because they've had so long of like not doing much and flattering to deceive
They're the
and all
fancy
that.
England, aren't they? The fancy England.
Yeah, yeah, just England with better press.
Yeah, yeah, the hipsters England.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, to be honest, I'd be surprised if they did anything. I don't know if they're still kind of playing with Memphis Depay as like the main man, but that's not exactly a great sign, is he?
I think he's on his way to be their top scorer ever, which just shouldn't be
Mental.
allowed, really. Like he should
No.
have his goals like cut in half. Like when they do like the European golden shoe, and depending on the league you're in, like your goals don't count the same. It should be
Yeah.
like that for like, all right, come on. We just put you in a category, you're not allowed.
So we've listed a few there. Who do you think would be who do you think has the potential to be the tournament's biggest disappointment? So a big fancied side. We're not going to say England because that's
Hmm.
just too easy to say. Um, but yeah, a fancied side who don't hit the mark, maybe don't even make it out of the group, or just kind of crawl through and flatter to deceive.
I'd say I'd stick in with Italy. If I had to pick another team, maybe they won't, maybe they won't just crawl out the group, but surely Belgium cannot keep playing the players they're playing
Yeah,
and
I
expecting
agree.
the same results. Like I know Lukaku's like not even in his 30s yet, and he scored a million goals for them. But where's this like next generation of them coming through as well? I mean, De Bruyne is amazing when he's on the pitch, but it's just all, he's just made out of glass, it seems, at times still. The defense, I still don't even know who plays half the time there. They're still playing Axel Witsel in midfield. It's just like
Yeah,
get a new band.
I would like to see them not get out the group and just draw a line under this
Yeah,
Belgium stuff
this
once and for
can't
all.
keep happening.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that was biggest disappointment. Top goal scorer. No, no, it's a bit of a difficult one. You're kind of thinking, I'm going to go for Kai Havertz in line with my prediction of Germany
Okay.
winning the lot. Anyone that kind of comes to mind, or maybe like a striker who could. I know that Sesko who's playing for Slovenia. He's a fan. Maybe somebody who could burst onto the international scene, so to speak.
Yeah.
Martin Adam.
Martin Adam, absolutely. He could absolutely be one there. You'd quite fancy. Yeah, I think Mbappe, that you look at him and the player he is. I mean, just he's everything about France, isn't he? You feel like in the crunch moments he'll step up for France and do it. I mean, who's even up front for Croatia? Nobody knows. Spain never really have a striker.
Yeah,
Like say Germany, you'd say, yeah, if they're going to play Kai Havertz there, it could be them. It's really hard to pick who is going to be the goal scorer because kind of it seems like there's a bit of a dry spell for like clinical goal scorers at the minute. Even like Mbappe really plays on the wing, will play
yeah,
on up front for Real Madrid. I don't really know. Maybe we're going to get like a Bruno Fernandes who just gets penalties if Ronaldo's not on the pitch
mm.
and like goal contributions that way, really. Because you
Harry
think
Kane
who's
as
going to
well.
score the goals for Portugal? Maybe it's just going to be Ronaldo again. Maybe he's
Yeah,
just going to come on and absolutely whip some more players.
it could be Kane.
Yeah, it could be again. I think we're just blanket going.
Blanking
We're not
England.
saying anything about England.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back to talking about them shortly. But a player of the tournament, I'll go again, sticking in line with my Germany, Tony Kroos, but also
Mhm.
if an alternative, I don't even know if he plays much for France, but I'd like to think maybe Camavinga could, if they go on to win, maybe he could have a starring role because he's a great player who's like a little bit lost in the Real Madrid shuffle, isn't he?
Yeah, I absolutely love him. Whenever I watch him play, I just think like, fuck, that is a seriously good player, and
Yeah,
like a player so good that he came on at left back in the World Cup final and changed the game. Like I
yeah,
know Mbappe did what he did, but I remember watching that game just going, he just doesn't care. Like he's just going to play wherever he wants, wherever he's most needed, and he's going to be amazing. So yeah,
yeah.
you could see like a France midfielder stepping up. Because I don't think Chouameni's available there as well. Um, I mean, is it mad to just say Luka Modric again?
It's not mad. I didn't expect it, but let's go with Tony Kroos and Luka Modric then.
Yeah, rolling back the years.
Yes. All right, we can shift back now to England then, because the rest of the countries are boring. Obviously, we've said at the top, we're a bit late to give a bit of a deep dive on the squad, but players such as Jack Grealish, Harry Maguire, um, and Jordan Henderson and Marcus Rashford obviously aren't there. Some didn't make the 33, some were cut. There were some surprises along the way, and we're just going to deal with that now. But looking at the squad, are there any strong points, weak areas that are emerging for you? Because personally, when it was confirmed, I got quite excited by variety of options and the versatility of the players on there. There's a lot of players that can play in multiple positions, and I quite like that. I think I almost think Gareth Southgate might be thinking, I want a Swiss Army knife of a squad.
Hmm.
I don't know if he's got the tactical. I don't know if any manager has the tactical like ability to train an international team to be able to play four different formations in a tournament, but he
Hmm.
could pick and mix and get out different teams with different players in different formations, if that makes sense.
I think so, yeah. I think with Southgate, once he picks the team, you don't really see him set up certain game plans for opposition. Like it's usually just we're going to do this way, and it's the opposition's job to stop us pretty much. And
Mm.
that could be defensively or in an attacking sense. There's been a big kind of like thing like the last couple of days of England just attack. Like it feels like
Yeah,
everybody's just gone, fuck it. Like let's just enjoy ourselves, which could mean going out in absolute fire. But I think the piece as well, like you say, about players who can play lots of positions is just needed because the squad is a bit thin in the defense. I think it's there that really we're looking at. They need to do something there. And the idea of, a with or without the ball. So having like a left back, for example, who can play in central defense kind of covers like the need for a right back to really do a defensive job. But then saying that Kyle Walker's just is going to play. There's no two ways around that really. So I guess it's going to be a Trippier or a Gomez, which again, a couple of months ago is mental.
yeah,
So I think it's just that side. And as well with Stones, not playing a lot of football in the lead up to this, which we've mentioned as well. Mark Gay, who's just not played loads for England, he's played enough, but not in that left hand side position next to Maguire. So that left hand side of England's defense is a bit worrying, I'd say. It's just
mm.
whether they can make up for that with Rice and Alexander Arnold, or if it's Minu or whoever in front of them, giving the platform to the players in front of them to just go and do their stuff.
Speaking of those players in front of them, I am. It's not really going to matter because it's not going to play out in any way. But I'm excited that Kane, Tony, and Watkins are all there. Just
Yeah.
the thought of throwing them on for firepower if needed. I mean, Ollie Watkins, like he's in such good form, and I know translating it to England is different, but God, he's just the type of player on the type of form. I think where you could just see him just coming in and us having to be like, not necessarily to drop Kane, but just being like, how do we find a way to fit him in? Because he's just won us a game in the group stage in a difficult
Yeah.
moment, sort of thing. So I'm excited by that, and I think we were talking over text, and I was thinking about penalties because I'm a sadist, and yeah, the thought came to my mind that in the Euro 2020 played in 2021 final, Southgate brought on Rashford and Sancho with the idea that they would be taking penalties. That was why they were brought on.
Yeah.
Fresh legs, attacking players to take penalties, but neither of them are really penalty takers, are they?
Yeah, I
Rashford a
mean,
little bit.
Sancho's definitely not. Rashford's taken some, but and he scored some crucial ones. But yeah, I wouldn't say he's an absolute banker. Although he don't think he's ever missed one for England up till that point. So it was kind
Yeah.
of like, yeah, that's sensible. The Sancho one, looking back, you go, I guess you just trust him and his technique right over anything else, really.
Yeah, I was just thinking. So if you was to do the same thing again this time, you could say bring on Cole Palmer and Ivan Tony, and those are two
Mm.
specialist penalty takers with great penalty records. I mean, last time in the final it was Kane, Maguire, Rashford, Sancho, and Saka. Those were the penalty takers. But this time you could say it's Kane, Bellingham. I'd still have Saka on there, but would probably go. I wouldn't want him to have the last one again, just for his
No.
poor soul. But Kane, who's obviously our penalty taker and main man. Bellingham, who's probably a very good penalty taker and just has the sheer confidence where you'd want him to step up and you'd be okay with it. Then Saka, who I think has continued to take them for Arsenal since Euro 2020.
Yeah.
Then yeah, Palmer and Tony. So five really strong penalty takers. No need to chuck Harry Maguire in there, who did well, but yeah, I'd
Yeah.
rather
I mean,
Ivan Tony
scored
take one.
scored one of the best penalties
Yeah,
you could ever imagine to the point where he broke the camera in
it's
the
mad.
goal. Like looking back at that, I remember because that put England ahead in the shootout as well. Like that was like the second penalty they scored, and I just remember just going, like the build up in the pub was very much, oh bloody hell, like that noise when you see someone walking
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
And for him to just do that and put it away in such a fashion was fucking incredible.
Amazing. Yeah. I wasn't meaning to do him a disservice there, but just on paper, we've got strong penalty options. And then you even consider Trent, who's got miss all over him in a way, just
I
one of
think
those
we said
people.
that, haven't we? Yeah, just
Yeah.
fucking like biting his shirt, pulling it over his head,
Yeah.
worrying. Foden, who's clearly
Foden,
got like the technique around it as well. Do you think would be a good one? Trippier,
Trippier.
who's took penalties for I think for club, and he's clearly good at free kicks for club as well. So
Yeah. We did try and predict the cuts from the squad actually. We got it almost right. I think we missed Dunk and Bowen, who we said would be cut, and obviously they made the cut in place of Maguire and Grealish. So no Grealish fever this summer. I know it's a bit late to the party for us to talk about it, but
yeah,
are you glad that it's just not hanging over? Or
I think
oh
people have kind of it's kind of like yesterday's news, isn't it, with him in particular, of just kind of like, oh, here he is again. Like it if he would have been cheered in the same way, it would kind of start feeling quite sad.
yeah,
If he's
yeah.
like, here he is, it's like like again, it's just like, oh, what is this happening now? And I think we've said before, you feel like Cole Palmer could be that player who,
Yeah.
how do you get him in the team? Why isn't he playing? Like that could be the one of the summer, which is, but
There's a
also in an understandable way, because I don't think there's almost like the clogger, not clogger, but there's not the unpopular player who will be playing in that England team.
there's a group chat that I'm in, and during the Iceland game, I think I was a couple of minutes behind on the platform which I was watching it on, and somebody in the chat went, "Surely now, even if Saka's fit, Cole Palmer's got to play." And I thought, right, Cole Palmer goal coming. He didn't do anything, and nobody else was responding, so I responded. I was like, "That's a bit naughty, isn't it?" I was like, just
Yeah.
bear in mind, Saka's our like player of the year 2 years on the trot. And if you watch our qualification goals, it's basically a Saka highlights compilation. Somebody
Mm.
went, typical United fan, you don't know nothing about football. And I was like, well, Saka's great for United.
Oh
But
yeah, clearly.
yeah, I did have a point actually about that. Yeah, that's the point I was going to make. I'm a big fan of Cole Palmer, and he's clearly had a great year. But has Saka not had that same year for about 3 years in a row, whilst also doing it
Yeah.
for England as well, without
And
scoring like 12, 15 penalties?
yeah,
You know?
I think that's the thing. My only worry with Saka at this point is a lot of football been relied on by Arsenal a lot,
Yeah, yeah,
and kind of had that niggling injury that's only just he's only started that, he came on in that England game.
yeah.
So yeah, you think if you've got to worry about him, you do still feel like no matter what, he's first change. I
I
think we've
think
talked about first change before, haven't we? And that's where I just think it's very, very easy for public opinion to just switch on someone to go, come on, like,
yeah,
right, let's get him out of the team. And it always happens at tournaments. You always get like the team who start for England in the opening game will not be the team that starts when England, their tournament finishes. It just won't be.
yeah. And I just want to have it on record. I think there's a potential he could lose his place, but it has to be his place to lose. If anyone
Yeah,
has earned a
definitely.
shirt, it's him. Yeah.
It's not like, and we're not talking about him like he's like playing badly.
No,
He's just been consistent.
and Cole Palmer's there as an option. Anyway, I kind of went a bit off track there. Just had to say my piece about Saka because I love him and I think he's so important to England. And I hate the idea that people don't see that, but it's a bit of a nightmare following England, isn't it? Really, just the
Yeah.
amount of contradictory, mad opinions that are out there without ever giving anyone any credit. It seems.
And well, that's England in a nutshell, isn't it? Of just this is no one can say any other. This is the most successful England team since the '60s, since
Yeah,
the Beatles were a thing,
yeah.
and
Since the
none
Beatles
of
were like a new thing.
yeah, still still doing their own thing, and it's still the fact of like, nah, not good enough.
But
And I get
also
it,
that
and I get the
also it's the
reason why I
best team we've
want.
ever had, and we
Yeah,
need.
but it's
Yeah,
also like the most, like I say, the most likable team as well. Like the least
yeah,
amount of dickheads in a side
yeah,
in reality, and people are still like, nah, don't like it. Next, want something better. It's like, right then, when Eddie Howe comes in, we'll see how much you like it then.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. That's it. It's we're not exactly waiting ready for the next guy to come in who's going to be amazing, and the players we've got can't really get much better than this unless we just magic up beautiful defenders in abundance.
Yeah.
Even all the teams we mentioned earlier have their ups and downs. Like Portugal isn't a perfect team if you're still playing Pepe and Cristiano Ronaldo. No
Yeah.
offense to either of those players. But anyway, let's talk about, well, we kind of mentioned about the group earlier, but let's talk about Serbia. I think their last three games here have been a 1-0 win over Cyprus, a 2-1 loss to Austria, and a 3-0 victory against Serbia. Tadic, Mitrovic, and Milinkovic Savic all scoring in that Sweden win. I don't really know what to say about them because I never watched them, but I don't like the
Yeah.
idea, as you say, of Mitrovic playing against England, to be honest.
No, I know. I think there's a couple of players, obviously, Milinkovic Savic as well, who was really highly rated and was basically just forced to go to Saudi Arabia by Lazio because they wanted the money.
Yeah.
And yeah, a couple of players. Tadic obviously played in the Premier League for a long time and then went to Ajax and just had an absolute day out in the Bernabeu, which people remember when they went through. Yeah, and they've just got good players in there as well. In a group that wouldn't didn't contain Denmark, you'd probably have them as second favourites in a lot of groups, really.
Yeah.
I
A
think it's
good,
just the fact of like, it's just because there's no one standout for the England group, they all now appear a lot harder than they should do,
I feel
maybe.
like this is always the case, though.
Yeah,
It comes out, and as long as it's not like a shockingly tough group, you're like, that's fine, like fine. Then you get confident, and then you don't even think about it. You're like, oh, I don't even know, and it doesn't matter. And then when it comes to it, like shit, it looks as though, according to Google and the way they line up the teams, that it's three at the back with four in midfield, no, five in midfield and two up top
mm,
for Serbia. I'm just checking if they play that kind of, yeah. Seem, oh no, in the game before that they played four at the back. And in the game before that, they played three at the back, four in midfield, two attacking midfielders, and one striker. So tactically flexible
yeah,
is a word that comes to mind. The game's obviously on Sunday at 8 o'clock or 8:30 UK time. And I am really excited. I feel like there's a lot riding on this tournament, just in terms of there is a bit of expectation because I think mainly because we've got Bellingham and he's a bit of like a, oh man, sprinkle that onto like what we've done in recent tournaments and let's see how it can really fly. And just, yeah, just excited overall, really. A quick kind of scenario game almost I want to play. Uh, so give us your best slash also your worst thing that can happen and be a bit realistic. So obviously not England winning the tournament as best and England crashing out, losing 6-0 every game as the worst. My example, I'll go first to give you a bit of a guide.
okay.
I think the best thing that could happen, and you kind of touched on it earlier, early goal in the first game, Bellingham worldy, like something to say that we're really here and not just like a normal goal, but I could see it happening as well, like a bloody, oh yes, lift off for England is what we want.
Yeah, oh, you want
Just
that now
just on
after
this
we've
one,
spent we spent years of going, oh, lift off for England, cringe.
just on this one occasion. I also think it'd be good if somebody like Tony or Watkins had a say in a game. I
Yeah,
think if you're going to go deep in the tournament, you want somebody who's got a bit of, I've actually, I'm not starting all the games, but I've already done something in this tournament. Get me in there. That's one of the,
yeah,
and it's a rare, it does happen, but it's not that common. I think the worst thing that could happen, and I thought about this a lot as well when I was talking about Croatia. Like we have just played like decent teams and good teams, but we've done well to go three decent tournaments and have only really played France and Germany,
mm,
who are like shit hot, and Germany weren't at the best.
yeah,
I think if we were to say come across Spain, um, Netherlands, even or Portugal's a bad one, and get like maybe a 4-0 or something like that, and it's just that would make you that could. I think it'd be the worst for obvious reason, but it could also make you look back at the other tournaments and be a bit like, was it just a bit lucky all along?
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but what could happen here could actually shape the way that you do look back at those tournaments. And I
that's
guess
it.
that's a thing of like a sullied memory almost.
Yeah. So, and I'm putting you on the spot a little. Is there anything that you can imagine, a little moment or an action that could be the best, just what we need, and go under that best category?
Yeah, I think like we said, I think like an early goal in the opening game just to settle England down in general. I think something I'd like to, something I'd like to see from the tournament is maybe Harry Kane kind of putting the ghost of that miss against France to bed. I
Yeah, that's
mean,
a good shout.
really, to me, if England win the Euros, great. I would just really love for England to be in the situation of a big knockout game against a big team and just win it. There's no like shit around it of lucky penalty or offside or whatever, no shit around it. Just England win a big crunch game against a big team and it being like a France and just going, yeah, because England went toe to toe with France in the World Cup and just saying, yeah, England came out on top of that. And that's almost kind of like the legacy of, you
Yeah,
know,
that
that's,
could
good enough almost.
that could color the previous things and think, oh God, we were just a bit unlucky, or we were building towards something, even if we don't go on to win. I think that's
Mm.
a great show, particularly with Harry Kane. Another thing that could be the worst thing that could happen could be an early goal in a big game, like a
Yeah. Oh,
truly
yeah.
big game.
After all this time now, say it is again England, France, whenever they're due to play each other. If you got to that point now and England scored early, how happy would you actually be?
Oh no, yeah. Oh,
Because
what
we've
about
seen too much evidence for it now, and everyone around us is celebrating. We're just like, no, no.
would that be on your list as the worst, or is there maybe like an injury or a there's a lot of bad that could happen, but mm,
I think without looking at injury, I think it's just having a game that would be similar to maybe either of the Iceland games, that are most famous against them in terms of the Iceland game from Euro 2016 was just such a shit game to watch. And as soon as Iceland equalised, or even when they went in front, you just went, yeah, this is probably how it's going to end.
yeah,
And like England didn't make a chance, nothing happened in the game, and just kind of having a really flat exit.
yeah,
It hurts to go out in such like in the to a last minute goal in a really a game like the France game or a late goal which could have swung either way, and it hurts. But you kind of went, yeah, well, it's not a bad way to go out to the best team in the world, but kind of coming up against I don't know, a Croatia, and you just don't see a lot of the ball and you
yeah,
don't make much of it and you just don't take your chances in
yeah,
terms of you could just go out there and do something about it. The big players go and show up. Don't leave anything in terms of could the so and so disappointed, didn't really get them the ball, didn't make the most of X player and that kind of stuff. Just a really flat exit.
yeah. Something that could be considered the best thing slash the worst thing, depending on your outlook, not your output, is Gareth Southgate's recent comments that if we don't win, I probably won't be here anymore. Uh, Apparently, he said that to German newspaper Bild. I'm surprised they're getting. That's probably just a press conference, but like,
Exclusives.
yeah, it's a weird one. I know we spoke about this a lot in the past. What are your thoughts on that being said at this stage? Like,
It's
is it a bit of
yeah.
a shadow over the tournament?
I think it's just the elephant in the room, isn't it? We've just kind of accepted that he will be leaving after the tournament because if he wins it, where else can he go? If
Hmm.
he loses it, if like England don't win it, that's your chance. And as much as we've loved him, we've just said at the end of the day, it's probably just time for someone else to have a go at it.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Like
be against.
it is just time up in general, I think. And even if England win, there will be the clamoring for him to stay. But is the really smart decision from him to actually walk away? And I think it sounds like he's already made his peace with that. He's not going to be the manager after the tournament, really. Even if they win, there'll be the clamoring for him to stay. But would it just be the most sensible Southgate thing in the world for him to just resign the 2 days after or something?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I can add any more to that, but let's have a quick look. And this is a very quick look because I tried to have a proper look earlier and it fried my brain. But let's just imagine that we get out of the group stage. We're in Group C. Okay. So in the round of 16, if we finish top of Group C, we play the third placed side in either Group D, E, or F. So in Group D, Poland, Netherlands, Austria, and France. So we're looking for a third place in that. So you're going to say probably Poland, Austria, maybe.
Yeah, I just don't know where Poland are at the minute. Is Lewandowski still playing? I
He's
mean,
injured,
that's
I
another
think.
one of just like let it go.
I think he's is he injured? Yeah, he's been. He's going to miss the opening game. So
Okay.
let's go with Austria.
Yeah.
Group E, the famous Group E: Belgium, Slovakia, Romania, Ukraine. I'm going to go with Ukraine.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just say that. Yeah.
And Group F: Portugal, Turkey, Georgia, Czech Republic, Turkey.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, let's just
So
say Turkey. So England would play one of those basically.
if we win the group, we're going to be playing, according to our research, uh,
Mm.
Turkey, Ukraine, or Austria. Great. If we finish second in Group C, we play the Group A winners. Group A is Germany, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland.
Just get it out the way. Just get it out the way early. And then if you beat Germany in Germany, I mean, that is almost like the best thing you could do in the tournament as well. Like you win a European Championships game to knock Germany out of their own tournament. That would be fucking great.
Yeah, I guess it would. Well, it would be amazing. I just wouldn't. Yeah, I want a gentle, nice
I
transition.
mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that that's the way I choose, but you got to be brave with this stuff. Like, you're gonna have to. I mean, we haven't in the past, but you have to beat some of these teams at some point. And if you're going to do it, out of all the teams who could finish top, you're
Yeah.
probably saying Germany. They'd got that monkey off their back and hoiked it into the sea, as we said.
Mm.
Like that would be. Look, I just don't want to play France. Okay.
Yeah, I actually can't figure it out any further than that. But I do think when I thought I had a grip on it earlier, it looked like it would be German. If we finish second, it'd be Germany, then Spain,
Right. Yeah.
and that's just scary to me.
I
But
just.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I think the main thing is that game against Denmark is very important.
Yeah, it is. And I think for me it's going to be such a strange tournament because personally, I'm obviously going out to watch one of the games in Germany without a ticket, but I'm just still going to, enjoy it. The Denmark game, there's a works event and we've organized to show the game somewhere. So I'm going to
Yeah.
have to watch it with work people and like people from the industry. And then the last group game is the night before I go to Glastonbury.
Okay.
So that is like, I don't know what I'm going to do for that. I'll probably be like stress packing, whatever.
Hopefully chilling and watching
Yeah. The
Wharton,
idiots.
Lewis
Yeah.
Dunk, Ollie Watkins, and all them get a 0-0 draw
Yeah.
because we're
Lovely.
already through as winners.
And
Uh,
then that game you've just mentioned, then that next knockout game would potentially be on the Sunday of Glastonbury while I'm still there. And they
oh,
are,
imagine
and,
that.
and they're not showing the game.
And do you know who's playing? Like, what's your lineup for the Sunday? Is there anyone
In
you could miss to watch England v Germany?
in fairness, if it's the late game, I'm actually quite available on the Sunday. I think it was like, I don't know really who I'm going to see. I think it was like Justice was like the heaviest favorite, but
Yeah.
really it could be anybody. I mean, I'll just be getting updates on my phone if it goes that far.
Wow. Wow. I
I
can't imagine
know.
an England versus Germany game just being updates on a phone. You'll find a way. There'll be a way to make it work.
I also just feel as well, like I agree with Glastonbury for just not showing it because there's supposed to be like
Yeah.
an escape from the real world. But
Yeah.
when the
Yeah.
real world is that, like
Yeah.
I'm just a
Like,
bit like, who is going to get it on their phones? Who is on Vodafone or whatever the carrier is?
yeah. Yeah. Tricky. Okay. Well, as the tournament goes, we'll find a way to keep up communicating. But we're not quite finished with today's episode yet because Nick, I have prepared a Euros quiz. Nick's Euros quiz. Yeah, 10 questions. Loosely, some of them are England, some of them are wider Euros. Yeah, there's not much rhyme or reason to it, but let's just say it's a Euros quiz. How are you
Mhm.
feeling ahead of the quiz?
I'm feeling quite stupid because we had to take a break during this just to set the meeting up again, and I had the questions in front of me and I didn't read them. So I could have at least thought about them myself, but I'm going to be seeing these for the first
No,
time now when I think about it. So I'm ready to go in. Let's just try it.
that's a noble act. I'm glad that you didn't look, to be honest.
Yeah.
Question one. England's greatest rivals, Germany, are the home nation at Euro 2024. There was only one other country who bid to host the tournament. Can you name that country? I don't think it's the easiest quiz, this. So if you get a low score, don't feel too bad. But I think I've said
Okay.
that before and you did really well. Anyway,
Oh,
I'm
who
invading your
knows?
thinking space. One
Um,
other country who bid to host Euro 2024.
well, France have just had the last one. I feel like Portugal have had one recently. I'm gonna say Spain.
Incorrect. You'll be
Who?
surprised to hear that it was Turkey.
Oh, they've got the one after the UK one. They've got it's Turkey and Italy are in like 2032, which isn't a real number to us. So
Oh God, no, no, that
no,
is some way off.
yeah,
So none for one so far. Wayne, question two. Wayne Rooney's incredible tournament debut at Euro 2004 came to a premature end in a quarter-final defeat to Portugal. The 18-year-old was forced off with a metatarsal fracture, but in what minute did Rooney go down with the injury? So I'm not looking for when he comes off, because as we all know, he tried to play him for a couple of minutes. What time did he fall to the floor and wince? And I'll give you 2 minutes leeway.
oh my God. I am gonna say 24 minutes.
Correct. You're
Yes.
correct on the leeway. It was 22 minutes.
All right, I'm allowed that then. Come
You're allowed
on.
that. That's what I said. You got 2 minutes
Yeah.
either side leeway. Brilliant. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm happy you got that. Uh, question three. Who, and I'll repeat that, who received the Golden Boot Award at Euro 2020, played in 2021?
It was jointly awarded Patrick Schick,
Yes.
and Cristiano Ronaldo.
I think you might get a bonus point to take you up to three because you are correct.
Yes.
It officially, I think, was Ronaldo because he got an assist as well, 5 goals and 1 assist. But Patrick Schick also got the 5 goals, and yeah,
Yeah.
I'll get yeah.
Excellent.
Your first question about the host countries, you've cleared that. You got a bonus point. Well done. Um, question four then. Cast your mind back to England's Euro 2024 qualification opener, a game against Italy, which is mental.
Yeah,
The
horrible.
absolute like mental, what's the word? Not Schadenfreude, but just weird fate that we lost the last Euros final to them, and then it's the first game of qualification. Anyway, cast your mind back to the opening game of Euro 2024 qualification. Three Lions picked up 3 points with a 2-1 victory at the Maradona Stadium, but only finished the game with 10 men who picked up a red card for England.
Was it Harry Maguire?
Incorrect. Close
Oh,
enough. Well, not close enough to get a point, but it was Luke Shaw.
oh, it was. He was sent off in like the last minute, wasn't he?
It was very late on, yeah.
Yeah.
Such a shame, such a shame after scoring that goal in the final as well. Multiple choice for question five. When France lifted the Euro 2000 trophy, they became the reigning world and European champions at the same time. Which country had achieved this before? Was it Spain, West Germany, Italy, or had it not been done before?
So who had won? Who had held both at the same time?
Yeah,
Um, I'm going to say so they'd done it before.
before Euro.
Spain hadn't. They have done it, but they'd not done it before Euro 2000.
Yeah,
So it's going to be between one of them. I'm just going to say West Germany.
correct. Euro
Yes.
72 and World Cup 74. They did it the opposite way to France. And you are right. Spain have also done it since Euro 2008, World Cup 2010, and Euro 2012.
An era of football I hated. Just horrible to watch.
Disagree. My favorite. I loved
Oh,
it.
no good.
Uh, okay, question six. England played 6 matches in total across the tournaments Euro 1984, Euro 1988, and Euro 1992. How many did they win?
I'm gonna say you're right. So they didn't win a game in '92. Old old Taylor. Um, '88 they didn't win a game, and I think you've put this in there, so it's that. So I don't think they won a game in '84 either. So I'm gonna say zero.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yes.
I got that from another quiz. I think it was a Guardian quiz, and they didn't include 1984 because we didn't qualify.
Right.
But I thought, well, if we didn't qualify, then we didn't win a game in it. But yeah, 6 games,
Absolutely.
3 tournaments, no victories. What you worried about?
The England way.
The England way. You're doing really well. Quick score check. One, two, three, four, five. 5 out of 6 so far. Just the Harry Maguire / Luke Shaw mix up. And you've obviously got a bonus point, but
Yeah.
I'm feeling generous. Question 7. So this is a wider Euros one. In 2016, Wales completed a memorable run to the semi-finals before finally succumbing to the might of Portugal. They had previously beaten Belgium in a knockout game and successfully escaped from a group containing England, Russia, and Slovenia. Who else did they beat in the round of 16 tie?
The north of Ireland.
Another back of the net for Nick. Brilliant. That surprised me when I read it earlier. I was like, flipping hell, Northern Ireland did all right, didn't they?
The fact they got to the tournament and then got out of their group. I mean,
Yeah.
it was definitely one of like, oh, very favourable third place
Yeah.
kind of one. Like,
Fair
yeah,
play.
don't know. I'm almost sure like Wales went through with like an own goal as well. It's just
Yeah.
like what a shit game.
I'm glad you got that as well because I definitely feel like I worded it in a really strange way. Like starting off with the semi final, then
No,
going
it's
back
all
to the
good.
group.
It's all good for
Uh,
me.
Question 8 then. Alan Shearer picked up the Euro 96 Golden Boot. How many goals did he score?
Um, I'm gonna say he scored 5.
Another point on the board. This is
Come
mighty
on.
impressive. 7 out of 8 so far. The rest are England ones as well. So you could be looking at a good score. Well, you already are really, but you could be looking at a great score. Uh, Question 9. With England chasing the game 2-1 down to Iceland at Euro 2016, who did Roy Hodgson bring on to replace Wayne Rooney and Raheem Sterling? So
Fucking
two
hell.
substitutes.
He brought Rooney off. I don't even remember that. I think I was going that was the day I got back from Glastonbury that year. And like the wave of hangover of like a whole week had just hit me during that game.
Yeah.
So I think I just blanked out for a lot of it. Sturridge would have started that. I'm gonna say he brought on Jamie Vardy and Jack Wilshere.
I'm going to give you a half a point. He brought on Jamie Vardy for Raheem Sterling. Excuse me. And he brought on Marcus Rashford to replace Wayne Rooney.
Okay, fair enough. I remember Rashford coming on actually and just doing like one run down the left hand
Yeah.
side, and everyone was like, "Brilliant, well done."
It was
Like
a
a
late
player who cares.
it was a late substitution, yeah. Um, Going into the final question, then I can't be asked to count the scores again. I'll do it at the end. Okay. If Harry Kane makes a single appearance for England this summer, and we hope he will become the Three Lions all-time top appearance maker in European Championships. Who is he currently tied in first place with? Both are on 11 appearances.
It's mental that he's played that many, or has already played that many games for England at
Because we've got
European
4.
Championships. Yeah, yeah, we've got far at one, and then obviously the horrible crashing Euro 2016 where he still played like 3 games or
Yeah.
4 games, whatever it was.
True.
Who's played the most? Is it? It's going to need to be someone who's played across a load of tournaments.
Yeah, that's a fair assumption.
Yeah. Is it Wayne Rooney?
It's not Wayne Rooney.
Oh,
He's joint second with I forget who, but they're on 10. Gary Neville is the answer. Believe it or not. But you did really well. You've got what 7.5. That seems quite low. Now, let me do a recount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 out of 10.
bad.
No, pretty good, pretty good. Any surprising little trivia facts in there? I suppose
Just
not
Gary
really because
Neville. I mean,
you knew
Gary
most of
Neville.
them. Yeah, yeah,
Like what on earth? I was just trying to think of surely a defender who's just like long career and things like that. But I mean, Ashley Cole you'd think of, but really he had a great Euro 2020, 2004,
2004. Yeah,
and then didn't go to a tournament in like the next
2008.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like 2012, he's kind of getting on the verge of past it.
So I think you've got Neville at 96,
Yeah, yeah.
2000. 2004.
2004,
That's
and
probably
that's
taking
it.
him up to about 11. But Kane, fingers crossed, he makes that appearance and takes that record off Neville.
When I think of Kane at European Championships, I do still think of him just taking corners in that bad England kit.
Yeah, yeah.
I just can't help it. Like he's not even done that much in terms of the year. Like he scored 3 goals at the last tournament, great and all that, but didn't have a great tournament himself. It still feels like that's kind of like stuck on him almost, even though no one questions him. He's still amazing. But it's to me, it's still just like, yeah, but remember you were bad. You were
No,
bad when you were young.
I agree. And if you see any pictures from that 2016, it does knock you into a bit of a funk for about 10, 15 minutes. You can't, it takes a lot to move past that bad blue kit and the quality of football. Anyway,
Yeah.
but we're going to end on a positive. Do we have any final words of encouragement? I would like to say to the boys, stick at it. Times will get tough, but there's a lot of bloody good players in this team, and you lads are bloody sound. Don't let me down. Get out there and work your socks off. Any,
The Graham Taylor, everyone.
yeah. No, on a genuine though, I'm looking forward. I am really looking forward to the tournament. I think there's something about it being this is actual expectations. I don't know what our expectations were like for the World Cup. I think they were destroyed in the months leading up to it, but
Mm.
we've got better players and we've got like a lot to get excited for, and I want us to do really well, and I want to see some players stick it to the critics. I'd love to see Gareth end his time, if he does, with at least another good run where people can say like, yeah, come on, let's lay off him just a little bit because he's done well in 4 tournaments now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. And just yeah, it's nice to have a tournament where obviously I get to go to a part of it, but also a tournament which it not in a horrible place. Like in
Yeah,
terms of just like it's like this should have an identity of Germany. And maybe I've just not read enough around it and watched bits yet, but it's going to happen over the next couple of days, especially when Adam arrives and we watch the opening game with a beer or two. And it's just going to feel a lot better. And I'm really looking forward to being out there amongst nice people, no riots. Let's not
yeah.
have any silliness from England fans and whatever, and just go
Well,
and go and enjoy it. And I feel like in Mike Bassett, where he's like, remember you are in someone else's country, so show some respect.
yeah. Well, it's a proper football country, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
if you think back, we've had Russia, COVID, and Qatar
yeah.
as the last 3, and then
And the one
prior.
before that was France, which I think you go fair enough.
But that's a bad tournament for England, isn't it? So hopefully
Yeah,
the marriage can be a good tournament in a historic football country with good stadiums and all that stuff, and a good England performance. That's what we hope for. I guess we'll try and catch up after the Serbia game, and
yeah,
that's gonna be fine. It's all gonna be fine. Let's just take a deep breath and not worry about it because Jude Bellingham's there.
yeah.
Okay, then. See you soon.
You may be a stranger. That's what time